Nintendo is a company that strives for strength in their products. I mean, you can see the strength. They have old photos of Nintendo DS's being stress tested. They're out there on the internet. In fact, I'll show one right now. They are pretty much unbreakable, even their not well-selling consoles such as the GameCube or Wii U are very, very strong. They have a very, very long lifespan, and you are going to be able to use them for that very long lifespan. Until the Nintendo Switch, which is a very, very big console and is set to be their biggest console, not including the Nintendo DS, as mentioned earlier. And yet, it still has a problem that was just fixed by using cardboard. Thing that you can find at several shops, in Amazon boxes, all that stuff. They sell it everywhere, and yet somehow they have been thwarted by it, kinda. You see, one of the biggest issues with the Nintendo Switch is the Joy-Con drift. What is Joy-Con drift? Joy-Con drift is basically just when when Joy-Cons start to drift. I mean, it's pretty much in the name. The, the point where the Joy-Con is does not match up to where the TV is, or and it's a big, big problem. I mean, people have known for the longest time what Joy-Con drift is. It's basically like the red ring of death for the Xbox 360. I mean, it's a lot less of that, but yet it still is kind of on the same level. But thing is, with the Joy-Con drift, Nintendo hasn't even mentioned it. I mean, Microsoft immediately bumped up the warranty. When they found out about the red ring of death, they bumped up the warranty from 1 year to 3. And Nintendo, again, still refuses to acknowledge it. Until someone just yesterday, I kid you not, found out that you can literally just push a piece of cardboard underneath your Nintendo Switch Joy-Con joystick or whatever, and it works fine. I mean, alternatively, you can push it in at like this point and this point, and it'll work. And yet Nintendo, again, still refuses to acknowledge it. It's one of the biggest problems. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's probably been affected by it if you have a Nintendo Switch. And yet, it was thwarted by cardboard. It's just weird. It's mind-boggling how they refuse to acknowledge this thing. They say it doesn't exist. Nope, nothing happens here. And yet, all they had to do was use cardboard. Again, Nintendo strives for strength in their products. They are really, really tough. If you've ever heard of Nintendoium, I think that's what it's called. It's weird. It's weird how long Nintendo's gone without mentioning it. It's been four years since the Switch came out. People started noticing this immediately. I mean, they immediately also fixed. I kid you not, Nintendo themselves fixed the problem with the Nintendo Switch screens that were there on launch day, where you would literally the screen would glitch. The screen would glitch out. It would be weird, and yet they refuse to acknowledge something that's also been there since launch day: Joy-Con drift. Now, my Joy-Cons right here, they do have a bit of drift. It's a little weird, and it's not really as noticeable, but it does happen sometimes. And they, again, have refused to acknowledge it, and yet it's been fixed. So here's to hoping that Nintendo fixes it in the future. I realized after recording that this is literally like 2 days or like 1 day before Skyward Sword HD comes out, and it's weird that it's getting fixed just before then. So it's a little interesting. So hoping that Nintendo quickly changes the next batch of Skyward Sword HD Joy-Cons, which I still cannot find And yeah, so I just realized that after recording, and it's a bit sad. So it's really all I want to say. Uh, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe. You don't have to, but it helps me out a lot. Bye.